Fred MacGuffin Reviews. Welcome to my channel, Fred MacGuffin Reviews. Guillermo del Toro, Cabinet of Curiosities, Season 1, Episode 5. Pickman's Model. This episode is based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft. And he was a horror author back in the day. He has a lot of works, a lot of books. I haven't read much of his stuff, so I'm not a very. I don't know how well this episode sticks with the story, or does it improve it, or is the short story better? But yeah, a good episode. I enjoyed this episode. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, and I'll talk about it. Keith Thomas directed. He also directed Firestarter remake from last year, and a movie called The Vigil, which I haven't seen. So he does a pretty good job in this. Again, this episode, it's an hour long. No expense spared. It looks great. Great sets, great actors. We're getting movie level money spent in this, and it's a very classy episode. And yeah, still enjoying this this season of Cabinet of Curiosities. Now we have our hero in this. Our main star is Ben Barnes, and he plays William Thurber, a student, an art student, and he meets Richard Upton Pickman, played by Crispin Glover, and Richard Pickman joins their class in college, and they sort of, William Thurber becomes interested in Richard Pickman's art and how he views things. Ben Barnes, let's just talk about Ben Barnes. He's starred in, he had part in Stardust. He was in Prince Caspian, and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the Chronicles of Narnia movies. Dorian Gray, Westworld, The Punisher, and Shadow and Bone. The Punisher TV series, and the Shadow and Bone TV series, and the Westworld TV series. So yeah, very good. He's a very good actor. He does a good job in this. And we have Crispin Glover, who, Crispin Glover, he's a very quirky actor. He takes on very unusual sort of characters. You may have seen him in, I always remember him from Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. He does a great dance in that. Check it out on YouTube. Back to the Future, Charlie's Angels, the 2000s remake. Willard, another remake. You can spot him in Alice in Wonderland and The People versus Larry Flint. So yeah, he always takes on these unusual characters, and he takes on a very unusual character in this, and a very sinister character, a character that sees the world very differently, and that's what William Thurber finds interesting in him. And one of the first sort of times they meet, there's a life drawing class and of a male model, and while William sees, your basic sort of standard view of this model, Richard Pickman sees something completely different, something that no one else can see. And he sort of draws William into his world, and a dark world, and a very scary world. This is a very dark episode, very scary. Lovecraft is obviously, his stories are obviously very dark and disturbing. So William is getting a glimpse behind the curtain of Richard Pickman's sort of views and what he's seeing. He's seeing the darker side of life, whereas William used to believe in that, more of a standard view of life, but Richard Pickman's shown him behind the curtain and drawing him into this world that he's never known about, and that is obviously very scary and yeah, intriguing in a way, because it's like he's looking behind the veil and into a nightmare, and he sort of gets the nightmare starts sort of following him and becoming part of his life due to Richard Pickman and their friendship. And but he's still curious. He goes to his apartment to see more of his work, more of his drawings, and yeah. So he's intrigued by his sort of what he's seeing, and his views, his art, and his yeah, just that curious about that sort of dark realm that he's seeing. And yeah, so a very intriguing episode. Yeah, sort of, as I said, I haven't read much of H.P. Lovecraft's stories, but I do know that there's been a lot of horror movies based on his works. And yeah, a good episode. Enjoyed it. So yeah, Cabinet of Curiosities. Are you enjoying the series? Let me know. This has been Fred MacGuffin, giving you the guff on the Cabinet of Curiosities, Season 1, Episode 5.